Hey Idris, it's Shiva. Hope you're doing well. I just want to make a little video for you to reiterate or to repeat what we talked about, because it's one of those things, repetition of something or repeating something is going to prepare you to be successful. In this case, prepare you to be successful of remembering the which keys for the on the keyboard for mallets. So I'm going to change this sound to a mallet sound, so that way it sounds somewhat similar to what it used to. I'll keep it on Zalo. Yeah. So again, we talked about how to read the sheet music in terms of identifying pitch, whether it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and that repeats. But then we also talked about how to find the keys on the layout of the mallets. Now, again, like I said before, on a keyboard like this, synthesizer, which is electronic keyboard, really, electronic piano, or even a regular upright grand piano, you can tell the difference between the sharps and the flats and the regular whole notes because of the different colored keys. Now, xylophone, marimba, vibes, chimes, glockenspiel, etc. will be the same colored keys, top and bottom. But what still stays the same is the grouping. On the top keys, you see here, groupings of 3 and 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, and 3, and so forth. So again, I just want to practice and say again what we talked about today. So again, how do we find the keys on the keyboard? Well, again, we talked about using these the top keys, in this case the black colored keys, as kind of like bookmarks to remind us, like, hey, this is where we are on the keyboard. So we talked about grouping of 3 top keys, in this case black keys. Well, if you go to the bottom left of the grouping of 3 black keys, so left would be this side and bottom would be this. That's F. So remember that every time you see a group of 3 top keys, if you go to the bottom left, that's F. So the piano at school had 7 Fs on here. Let's see how many Fs on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is a much shorter scale piano. One has 5 Fs. And then remember the diagram that I wrote out for you of the staff lines, all the notes. So this is F. We established that already. There's 5 Fs on this keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the other notes, we can find them like as such. If you look on the diagram, this is F dot talking about. So if you look at the diagram of the notes written on the music sheet, on the staff lines as they call it, the note to the right of F is G. So that means if you start on F and go 1 key to the right, that's G. So again, how many G's are on here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So then, on the staff lines, 1 note to the right of G is A. So if you start at G, the 1 note to the right of G, it would be A. On the staff lines, 1 note to the right of A would be B. So these 3, so again, the grouping of 3 notes on the top here, the black keys. Bottom left is F, so they have F, then you have G, A, B. So notice how you have those F, G, A, B happening 1 time, second time, third time, fourth time, and fifth time. Again, it sounds different because the higher pitch, so higher octave goes up here, low octave goes on the left, but it's still the same key name, F, G, A, and B. So what about the other notes, C, D, and E? How do we find that? Well, like I said, to find C, look where the 2 top keys are grouped together. In this case, the black keys, but on the xylophone, that'll be same colors as the bottom keys. But there's 2 groups of them, here, and then here. So again, to find the C key, you just go to the bottom left of the two top keys. 2 groups of group of 2 top keys. So bottom left, that's C. So how many C's are there on this piano? Well, let's see. 2 groups of black keys. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and technically this would be C as well. So technically there are 6 C's altogether. So then that's C. And if you look at the diagram of on the staff lines, if you look at C, the note to the right of C is D. So that means if you go to the right of C, that would be D. If you look at the staff lines, one note to the right of D is E. So if you go back on the piano, if this key is D, one note to the right would be E. And those other so that's C, D, and E. So how many C, Ds, and E are on here? Well, that's C, D, and E. Now this is 2 of them. 3, 4, 5, and just C on the top. So technically 5 grouping of that. But then you see how this repeats in afterwards? So if, again, start on the very bottom octave, 2 groups of top keys. So that's C, D, and E. Then 3 groups of top keys here. A group of 3 top keys right here. F, G, A, B. So you have C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And that repeats. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. One last time. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Yeah. So anyway, those are the bottom or the white keys of the on the keyboard here, and the sound that you saw me make, I put it on xylophone setting. It's a xylophone. Yeah. And then the top keys would be the sharps and flats. We'll talk about next week. But a sharp is when you go 1 half step down. And flat is when you go 1 half step down, and a sharp is when you go 1 half step up. So, for example, if you look at G, which is right here. Again, G, we know this is G because if you look at the one grouping of 3 top keys, you see that if you go to the bottom left of that, that's F. So the note that comes after F is G. So this is G. A sharp is when you go a half step, meaning touching the black keys, up. And that's G sharp. And then G flat, beside G, and you go 1 black key down to the left. So that's flat. So G natural, G sharp, flat. But we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, hope that helps. Watch this video, watch it how many times, and kind of tap along with me, even if you don't have a keyboard. Just tap along and watch along. And the more you do this, the more comfort you get this, and eventually you won't need this video because you have it down so well. But anyway, man, Happy New Year, and hope you enjoy this. Bye.